The biggest sports card event of the year, the National, is next week. And this year, they've made some big changes. Some changes that you probably don't know about yet. But we're going to tell you all about them today and debate which one is going to be most impactful now. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode of Cards on the Table. Teapot, Doug, you guys ready? Are you guys packing your bags yet? We are just a few days away from the National.
It's a little surreal. I haven't actually processed that yet. It's like a week away.
I've fully processed it.
Not even a week away. Get
ready.
Working,
trying to get things ready. So yes,
I
haven't packed yet because I've been working.
We have been busy here at Sports Card Investor and Cards HQ. Obviously, you know, we just yesterday launched our new Graded Grails repack, which we'll have with us at the National. Lots of online conversation about that. We won't be getting into that today, but we will be talking about the National because the National themselves has made quite a few changes for this year's event. Things that people I don't think may even be aware of have happened. And I'm curious to get your take on some of these changes. So one thing they're doing is they've actually expanded out the dealer floor beyond what it was even at the previous Chicago Nationals. They've added room, I believe, upstairs, from what I understand, for an additional, I think it's around 75 or so extra dealer tables they're putting upstairs. It's their effort to try to get more dealers into the National who maybe otherwise wouldn't have had a chance to be at the National before. So that will officially make this, by far, the largest National in history. And you've also got other card shows and trade nights now starting to pop up outside of the National. They're not officially related to the National, but you got the SoCo Expo for soccer, you got F1. I'm hearing of other ones. I hear there's now a vintage trade night that has popped up outside of the National as well. So this is starting to become kind of the biggest event of all time. So you got some of that happening this year. That's new, right? You've also got new Wi-Fi. We are breaking news on new Wi-Fi. The convention center in Rosemont has apparently installed $214,000 worth of new Wi-Fi equipment. Now, it is not fully installed. It is in the process of being installed. Why they couldn't get it all done before the National, I'm not sure. Some of the installation is completed. So we will maybe sort of hopefully have better Wi-Fi. They're claiming improved signal strength, especially in high traffic areas of the building, which of course, if you've been in the National in years past, that is a big deal. So hopefully enough of it has been installed to really make an impact this year. That would be huge. And I guess maybe by next year, it's all going to be in place. But hopefully enough of that is there. We also this year have brand new air conditioning units at the convention center. So 2 weeks ago, obviously they were trying to get this done for the National. 2 weeks ago, the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center replaced their whole AC system. They installed 12 new high efficiency air conditioning rooftop units. They are designed to use less energy and deliver more comfort for all of the attendees at the show. So that now is apparently in place. They also upgraded their electrical system, and now they have an electrical backup system. So I guess, God forbid, this thing loses power. Hopefully we still got lights and air conditioning running to keep everybody cool. I don't know. So those are some of the things we're seeing this year, right? More dealer tables with an expanded show floor, events taking place in the evenings outside of the National, more and more of that, Wi-Fi upgrade, AC upgrade. I should also mention that Sports Card Investors booth and Cards HQ's booth and our Card Kids Trade Zone, which is happening again this year, have all received massive upgrades. Our Sports Card Investor booth is 3-4 times larger than it was last year. Our Card Kids Trade Zone, have kids come trade at the Card Kids Trade Zone. It is 3-4 times bigger than it was last year. Cards HQ's got 2 booths instead of 1. They're going to be buying more cards than ever before. That's all been upgraded as well. With all of these upgrades happening, Teapot, what are you most excited about in terms of being at the National next week?
The first thing is Wi-Fi, if it works. If it works, Wi-Fi is a big deal. We didn't have it, was it Atlantic City where we didn't have it at all?
It's been bad at every National.
I think it was Atlantic City where there was none, where like we had good carpeting and like good padding and the air was on, but there was no Wi-Fi. And then when we were in Chicago a couple of years ago, the first day on Wednesday, the air wasn't on.
No.
Yeah,
And we had done all the setup
Yeah.
of our booth with no air conditioning.
Yeah.
And then we stood there just sweating and dripping and waiting for the air and wondering what was going on. And then even then, the ductwork, the way it's arranged where we were located, if you went to like the back corners, you were in an ice box, and where we were, you could kind of feel it. So I'm also just really looking forward to that. That makes for, you're on your feet all day, talking to people in a room that's got a buzz where you have to speak louder to hear what people are saying. We're probably going to be, next to some of these other activations playing that Stranger Things song or something again over and over again. So like, it's a lot of energy. If the air can work and keep you nice and cool and the Wi-Fi is working, I cannot think of two bigger quality of life improvements at the National than those two things. And speaking of, you want to like take a load off, one other thing is we're going to have a Market Movers member lounge where we're set up next to our sports card investor booth. So for Market Movers members, sofas and charging ports and all kinds of things, come hang out and talk, tell us about the product, what you like. So anybody who's a member will get to do that. That's a nice.
That's actually a
upgrade,
really
too.
nice perk.
It is.
Honestly, for people who haven't signed up for Market Movers, that right there is worth the $9.99 to go sign up for
Go
Market
sign up
Movers
and sit
to
down.
have a place to sit at the National on a couch. Like you don't otherwise get that opportunity.
That's right.
That's a nice upgrade as well. Doug, all these upgrades, what are you looking forward to most?
I don't know how I would possibly rank these because they're all really good options. I would probably lean air conditioning because I just remember how bad it was 3 years ago in Chicago, 2 years ago,
yeah.
when, as you mentioned, the day when we didn't have it at all, and it was just brutal to be in there. And I'm not enforcing the stereotype, but there is a stereotype about hygiene amongst collectors, and you don't want everybody to be hot and sweaty and maybe stinky. Let's keep it cool in there. Wi-Fi is going to be hit or miss, I think, regardless. I don't think these upgrades are going to be like world-changing and everybody's all of a sudden going to have access to full Wi-Fi and they're going to be able to look up comps and post other stuff. I still think there's just going to be so many people there. It's inevitable that it's going to suffer some. So I'm happy about it. It needed an upgrade, but I'm just anticipating that it's not going to be everything we hope that it would be.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the expansion for more tables. This sounds like it's going to be a massive national. It's always a huge event, right? There's always stuff going on all throughout the day, events at everybody's booth, and then every night, every company's got some sort of event every night. There's always multiple things to choose from. But now we've got multiple different just events, like actual card shows that you can attend as well. It makes me wonder how many days is appropriate for the National now. I'm only going to be there for 4, and I say only 4, but that almost sounds like not enough considering all of the different things that are taking place. I will have to make a lot of choices on what I do and what I don't do. I'm curious what kind of advice you might give somebody on how many days is appropriate now for the National, given the scope of it.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to see and do this year. I'm really, really excited about it. I'm glad they're making these upgrades to the convention center. That's the one thing about the National, where it's taking place in Chicago. I think there's a lot of really nice advantages to it, to where it is in Chicago. It's close to the airport, so super easy to get in and out of. There's a ton of hotels right around there, some of which are connected with sky bridges, which is really, really convenient, especially compared to like what we saw in Cleveland last year, where that was a nightmare. And you're in Chicago, so there's a lot of Uber availability. There's a lot of restaurants right around that area. So there's a lot of I like about it. The convention center has always been a letdown. Like the convention center in Chicago just feels like it's kind of been aging. It's not the same modern level, which is why, by the way, I really hope next week they vote to bring it to Atlanta. They're voting between Atlanta and Detroit. I really hope they vote to bring it to Atlanta in 2028. That is the vote the dealers have to do because we've got a beautiful, nice, modern convention center where all of those things are addressed in the heart of downtown, that's connected to the College Football Hall of Fame, that's connected to the CNN Center and what that's being redeveloped to, that's connected to a whole bunch of different hotels. It's a great
Listen
place
to the
to
sales
be. So,
pitch.
Atlanta, yes, I'm selling the audience on Atlanta. Any dealers listening, vote
You weren't
Atlanta.
here. You weren't here when we talked about it on the show. You were in Tahiti or something. I don't know where you were. But the three of us that were on the show, none of us picked Atlanta. None of us wanted Atlanta.
I said I'd good either way. I have a little reservation about it being in Atlanta and like my wife expected me to come home and help with
That's
the kids
exactly
or
what I was saying. Like work-life balance comes into play.
Right.
When I'm remote, I go to Chicago, it can be all work, but then I have to worry about, real life stuff when it's here in Atlanta. So I can't disconnect and just focus on the National.
All right. Well, I hope people don't listen to you. I hope it's in Atlanta. It'll be great for Cards HQ. It'll be great for the growth of the card market here in the Southeast U.S. But regardless, I hope for those of you who are going to the National next week, please come by the Sports Card Investor booth, come by the Cards HQ booth, check out Market Movers. We're all going to be there. We look forward to seeing you. Card Kids Trade Zone as well, Direct Kids that way. It's going to be a lot of fun next week. And hopefully the AC and Wi-Fi will work well. We shall see. I'm also extremely excited to announce today part of our partnership with Arena Club. And you guys know we do these Arena Club slab packs every show. We talk about Arena Club. Arena Club gave us, the three of us, the opportunity to create our own slab pack, to decide what cards should go inside the slab pack. And so we said, oh, that's pretty cool. And so we decided to curate cards that we thought would probably be nice cards to have for the long term. Cards that either could have investment value in the long term or cards that are great collector cards. Not the 2024 downtowns, not the hot baseball prospect, none of that.
You shot me down on Lamine Yamal.
Not Lamine Yamal even, because I wanted guys who were proven, who had rings, who had MVPs, who were proven veterans, or who were retired Hall of Famers. That's who I wanted in the product, because I thought this would be something different. And for people trying to build their collection, yet they like the fun of ripping packs, I actually thought this could be a really cool crossover way to do it. So it is the Sports Card Investor Slab Pack, and Arena Club just pushed it live moments ago. It's on the Arena Club app right now, the Sports Card Investor Slab Pack. Teapot, we each got to pick three kind of Chase Grail cards that we wanted in this. Which ones did you choose?
The first one I did was a 2000 Upper Deck Gold Reserve Tom Brady that's numbered to 2500. It's a base card, but they're pretty tough to come by. It's in PSA 8 condition, and I think the design is really cool on it. It's not one you see every day. And then there's a 2007 Bowman Chrome LaDainian Tomlinson Gold Refractor numbered to 50, PSA 10. The Bowman Chrome and Topps Chrome Gold Refractors out of the 2000s are very popular and rising in popularity. I think that's an awesome card. And LT people forget how incredible he was. And then speaking of incredible running backs, 1998 Flair Showcase Row 0, serial number to 250, Barry Sanders. That's an SGC 10.
You were going to get Barry Sanders.
Had to get Barry Sanders.
That's a great card. Doug, what three did you pick?
Yeah, so along those lines, right? I couldn't embarrass myself by picking somebody who's going to, flop and have a bad season or bad career. So the first thing I went for was Mahomes, somebody who's already got the rings, somebody who's got the trophies. 2017 Optic Mahomes rookie, PSA 10 was the first card I chose. I had to go with Kobe, mostly because that's who I wish I had more of personally. I want more Kobe in my collection. I went with the 1996 Finest with the coating still on it and a PSA 10 for Kobe. And then probably my favorite overall chase in this, if I'm being biased, is I picked out a beautiful Messi rookie. It is a 2004 Mega Cracks Messi rookie in a BGS 8.5.
There you go. I got a 1998 Fleer Ultra Peyton Manning PSA 10. Incredible card. 2003 Fleer Mystique LeBron James in a BGS 9. And then a 2011 Topps Freddie Freeman Gold PSA 10. Three awesome cards. Guys, if you want the chance of any of these cards, go download the Arena Club app or go to arenaclub.com and then use promo code SCI20. SCI20 is going to get you 20% off your first slab pack purchase. That Sports Card Investor slab pack is live right now in the Arena Club app for a very limited time.
You want to tell them about the Big Grail?
Oh, we should tell them about the Big Grail.
Yeah,
so this didn't even mention the biggest card.
It's kind of a repetition because it's Mahomes again.
Yep.
But it's a 2017 Prism Green Scope Auto out of 99.
There you go.
Huge Mahomes.
All right, I got to go.
There you go. I know you're going to go get one of these slab packs. All right, let's jump to our next story, guys. Last week, one of the most significant stories in the sports card / memorabilia, more so memorabilia hobby in a long time happened. It kind of broke after we had recorded the show last week, so we really haven't had much opportunity to comment on it. And of course, now the story's been out for a week, so it's not like the newest news at this point, but it's still significant enough where I think it's important for us to take a moment to talk about it, right? So this goes back to last week when Brett Lemieux, a memorabilia and autograph dealer, was found dead during a police raid. Police were raiding one of Lemieux's businesses on the suspicion that there was counterfeiting going on, fake items were being sold. Now, the day before this happened, Lemieux himself had gone onto Facebook and had posted in a Facebook group basically exposing himself and exposing some others as well, claiming that he had sold over 4 million fake items, and a lot of these are fake autographs and fake memorabilia items, generating over $350 million in sales. And he said that he counterfeited holograms from major companies like Fanatics, Panini, TriStar, JSA, Mill Creek Sports, and others. Kobe Bryant in particular was a main focus, with 80,000 fake Kobe Bryant items released after his death, according to Brett's post. Fanatics has actually acknowledged that their hologram was in fact counterfeited. So they seem to be, acknowledging that some of this went on. They said that 2 years ago they updated their hologram, has not been successfully copied since. But I don't know. When you saw this news, Teapot, what did you make of this? What does this mean for the industry?
The mem space is one that I don't dabble in as much. Yeah. I have a few items, a couple signed balls and some stuff, but it's kind of a little bit of a foreign space to me. My reaction when this happened was just jaw-dropping, like, wow, this just has a ripple effect. It makes it difficult. We talked about the messy autos that may or may not be real on different cards, and just the whole ripple effect of like autographs and game-used, photo match memorabilia, and all of it just sort of like gives you pause. That's what it really did for me. Is like you're spending a lot of money on these types of items and putting your faith in these authenticators that it's real, trusting the person who you're buying it from. And one of the things that I saw proposed, more as a question, as like an open question, not a statement or an idea or a declaration, was Chris Sewell, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, in that order. He put out a video and said, maybe we just take the authentication a little too religiously, like a little bit too seriously. We actually think that it guarantees that the item is what they say it is, and maybe we should instead be going into it saying that's their professional opinion, that's their expert opinion, and that would obviously drive the value down on a lot of these things if people aren't as confident, but just as like a hedge to protect yourself in the first place, because there are other people who have said that they've faked things through different authenticators, that they've just like forced them through and duped them and said, yep, we got you, and they've approved all my stuff, and that kind of goes across the board for all of the notable companies. It's a tough thing. I don't know enough about the process of how these guys can say with confidence this is or isn't somebody's autograph. Like my autograph isn't consistent from one thing to the next. So how do you verify that without a picture, a video of them signing it? It's really tough. At the end of the day, there's an element of it for me, and people are going to scream at this, but like part of it is a little bit of ignorance is bliss. Like if I have a card, do I really want to know that the autograph's fake, or do I just want to live in my little like fantasy land that it's real and just move forward? And I'm probably not alone in that, but I know others will think that's ridiculous. But it's a question of trust, and unfortunately, he did this. The last thing I'll say is Patrick Ryan put out a video saying that he, who knows a lot about memorabilia and autographs, doubts that the number was really what it was. That he thought it was kind of a
maybe he was overstating
boast,
a little bit.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Really unfortunate overall, no matter how you look at it.
What do you think, Doug?
This is probably overall the craziest story we've ever covered on the show. That period of time, the day or 2-3 days when this all broke, was incredible to watch. When the Facebook post first comes out with all these claims, people are wondering if it's a real, if he was hacked or whatever. Then we hear the news story that someone was found dead during a police raid there. It was an unbelievable thing to watch unfold. But also just really, really terrible for the memorabilia industry. I'm glad this doesn't seem to have an impact on cards, so us, we're not going to feel it as much. But that's awful for memorabilia, of course. I mean, he claimed that 95% of his Mahomes were fake. And you mentioned the 80,000 Kobe items. This is just an unbelievable amount of volume if it's true or even close to being true. I can understand why people would sort of doubt that it was 4 million items at $350 million in revenue. Those are pretty gaudy numbers, so maybe it wasn't quite that. But it's significant one way or the other. And it's kind of scary to see how easy this was to do over such a long period of time. On the Sports Card Nonsense podcast with Jesse and Gio, they had a guy on there. His name was Cliff. I didn't see the entire clip, so I don't remember his full name or his occupation. But he was a guy who said that he did fakes, and he had them authenticated. And the reason he was so successful in having his fakes authenticated, some of his fakes are what they had as examples to verify off of. So when they go through their exemplars, when they're looking in their files to find out how to match, they actually had his fakes in there. I don't know how he managed that, but they were using his fakes to verify his fakes. That's just unbelievable to think about how it got to that point. So it's crazy, and I'm kind of with you. At this point, I'd rather just not know. Let me believe I've got something cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big story. I just, and this doesn't obviously necessarily solve anything, but like I've got a few really high-end cards that were aftermarket signed that are PSA in PSA slabs. A 86 player Jordan, a Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig signed. I actually, JSA was here in the store the other day, and I'm like, hey, I want you guys to authenticate these. And they're like, well, they're in PSA. PSA did the autograph authentication. I'm like, I want your opinion. Give me your opinion. Tell me if you think they're real, right? Just, I don't know, because like, I'm like, let me get a second opinion on my best autographs. This whole thing is kind of like, you know, just the whole premise of all of this is a little weird, right? So, you know, that doesn't necessarily guarantee anything, you know, for reasons why you just said, right? It's their professional opinion. It's not great. And I hope that, you know, I don't know. I hope that certainly the companies that are producing the hologram stickers and everything, I hope they find ways to you know, counteract this kind of stuff in the future. But it is part of our industry. Tread carefully. Tread carefully. Okay, let's change gears a little bit, guys. Let's talk about this new Topps chase that takes 7 years to complete. This is kind of an interesting twist. So 2025 Topps Chrome Baseball just came out yesterday. Big release day. We sold a ton of it here at Cards HQ and on Whatnot and our Whatnot breaks. But Topps introduced a new thing into Topps Chrome this year. It's called Cooperstown Calls. And what they are doing is they are releasing one new parallel per year for the next 7 years of the 2025 Hall of Fame class. So you've got guys like Ichiro and CC Sabathia in that class, right? Dave Parker, Dick Allen, others, Billy Wagner. This year, you can find those cards in a blue out of 150 parallel. Next year, those same cards are going to be in there as a green out of 99. The following year, a gold out of 50. The following year, a black out of 10. The following year, a red out of 5. And when you get all the way to the year 2031, they're going to be putting the superfractors of those Cooperstown calls from this year's class. I took a moment to think about this, and I actually have determined I think this is super, super cool. I love it. Teapot looks like he doesn't agree, so I'm going to start with you, Teapot. What are your thoughts on this?
Maybe I haven't thought about it enough. I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It doesn't pop off at me like, you know, like some of the other stuff they've done that's really cool, like the MLB debut patches and stuff. It's fine. You know, the good news is I'm going to have a whole bunch of red rookie redemptions who have won 3 MVPs to cash in for these by 2031. I just, it's an interesting concept. I wonder what the Blues do over the first 3 years. You know, are they just sort of hovering out there? Do people really care? Is somebody actually going to try? It won't be until 2031 that somebody will actually go, I'm going to try to do this.
I need to have a superfractor.
Yeah, I'm going to try to track this down. Because what was the soccer set? They've done this in a few different
the
sports
Grail,
now.
They did, yeah. It wasn't quite the same thing, but it was across multiple releases.
Where you had to get like all 9, and then you're like the first one to do it, and you get an experience. They're doing it in F1 now, I think. So similar. I don't hate this. I like, conceptually, I think it's very interesting. I don't know that, I think it might have been cooler if it was something, instead of like parallels every year, where maybe the print run's the same roughly every year, but it forms like a mosaic that creates a picture or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and do it over 9 years or something.
That could be cool.
Where the standalone card
that's
looks
what they're doing on the Grail.
But
I like
you do that. So
I think that would be cool.
It's okay.
What do you think, Doug?
I'm kind of with Teapot on this. Like, I certainly don't hate it.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with this idea. Yeah. And it's not like in year one, this isn't going to all of a sudden flood the product with new inserts and parallels. No. It's going to be a handful of guys that are getting a blue out of 150. But does next year, do we get the 26 class?
You will. The 150s, I assume.
Yeah.
And then this year is of the 99s.
So 7 years from now, in 2031, we're going to have 7 different classes at 7 different Hall of Fame classes at 7 different parallel levels. The 2031 blues and the 2030 greens and so on. It's going to get a little confusing. Then it is potentially going to be a little bit more watered down because you're going to have so many more of those. You won't see that impact right away. I think it's kind of cool because it can keep a collector engaged for a long period of time. Less likely maybe to, become not invested in the hobby if you've got this long-term chase. At the same time, it could be the exact opposite, though. Maybe you have this great plan that you're going to get this over 7, and then the red comes out and you miss out, and you've spent 6 years collecting something.
That's what I was kind of thinking.
If you spent 6 years collecting something, and then you get to the red and you can't get the card, you get the superfractor and you're not getting the card. A lot of people will complete a rainbow without a superfractor, so maybe they are okay stopping at red. But yeah, I don't know. It's fine for me. I'm glad to see them try things that could be cool and they're going to appeal to some people. I'll be interested to see how this affects those cards' values as it grows. Like you said, you were mentioning watching the value of the blues for the first 3 years. Yeah. Once that gets later for that 2025 class, watch those kind of spike as people do start to try to put sets together. Yeah.
I actually think it will kind of become most intriguing like 5 years from now when you do have like the new Hall of Fame class with the blues, and then last year's with the greens, and the year before that with the golds, and the year before that with the orange. I think what will happen is I think somebody who like 4 years from now pulls the black out of 10 of one of these guys from this year will then maybe start to get interested in, I got the black out of 10. Yeah. Maybe I should try to go buy the out of 25 and the out of 50 and the out of 99 and the out of 150, right? So I think as you kind of hinted at, I think we'll kind of almost work backwards and encourage people to build the rainbow if they're hitting the rare cards 5, 6, 7 years into it. I think it's kind of a neat dynamic. I don't know. I'm kind of actually excited about this.
I'm curious if they'll keep the same exact design for for a long time for every player that comes into it, or if like next year's would have a different design. Obviously, they're going to keep the same design for the rainbow, but that's a open question too.
And then are they going to, at one point, I'm sure at some point there'll be temptation to go back and put previous players in it.
Maybe.
Like they did, like you got the retrofractors, right?
Calls.
With retro calls to the hall or whatever. I don't know. All right, guys, I want to close on this today. The National, obviously, we talked about at the beginning of the show, is next week. The hottest sport at the National traditionally each year is football. The National tends to be the moment when football cards start to really heat back up again and get on the radar, because you're now, just a little bit over about a month and a half till the start of the season, a little bit less when the National hits. You're getting close to preseason, training camps, all that stuff. So the football is always hot at the National. So with that said, give me one player who you might be thinking about buying now, Doug, in football before the season. Maybe somebody who you have your eye on, somebody who's maybe flying under the radar. Who are you thinking about this year?
I didn't know I was going to be limited to one. Now it's going to be even harder. I was prepared to have this conversation with you, that this is not easy to have this conversation. There's not really such thing as under the radar in football right now. This is when preseason football hype cycle starts. Everybody's looking at everybody. There's no such thing as a quarterback that's going to be under the radar. Every quarterback's going to be speculated on. So it gets difficult. One thing I didn't happen to notice, though, about a week ago, maybe a little longer, on the Market Movers Instagram page, there was a comparison of Prism Silvers for 2024 and 2023 rookie quarterbacks, and it had them in rank based on price. So it was, Jaden Daniels, then Caleb Williams, and so on. Next to last was Michael Penix, and then last was Bryce Young. So based on my risk tolerance, I would probably look at one of those two guys, and I'm leaning Michael Penix for that.
Hey, look at that. Atlanta support.
Yeah.
Let's go Falcons.
And I've always...
Don't buy as one.
I like investing in Atlanta quarterbacks, Doug.
I've also secretly kind of liked Bryce Young just because he's won at every single level. He's been a national champion.
Doesn't work out.
He's been a champion at every level of his career, so I have some inherent confidence in him. Let me give one sleeper real quick. Luther Burden, the wide receiver for the Bears.
Okay.
Kind of a later pick. I was a huge fan of his skill set in college, and I think that people maybe not knowing about him could be beneficial. If I had to pick like an actual potential sleeper.
That's an under the radar pick. Teapot, how about you?
He said Bryce Young. I can't believe I said Bryce Young. I did a video
I can't believe you said Bryce Young
last week. Just looking at prices and its hype and like where people can go from different points. Bryce Young closed out the last 3 games of the season last year really strong. No interceptions, like 8 touchdowns, 275 a game. Came back from that getting benched and like looked like he built momentum throughout the season. There's obviously concerns about his size, his, can he see over the line? What can he do? He was so good in college. And their schedule is really easy. So I'm looking at their schedule. They got the Jaguars, the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Patriots, and the Dolphins and the Cowboys. Like, Could the Panthers? I'm not saying this is going to happen.
Somebody
Panthers-
clip this right now.
I'm just saying, could they? I don't
clip
know.
this,
I
clip
don't
this.
win
like,
the NFC South?
I don't know. Like, and by the way, his cards.
You got these guys in the Super Bowl now,
his
Teapot?
cards.
The Panthers?
I do not. But I look at schedules because what we know is once you get through about week 4, everything's a crapshoot outside of anybody putting up unreal, gaudy numbers who wasn't on the radar. So this guy's come down so much. His cards are actually up. Like at this point, I don't know that it's worth. They've been rising like up over the last month or so because I think people are looking at the same exact dynamic. But it's going to be interesting to watch him. I think it's like do or die for Bryce Young, like in his card market specifically. Maybe
100%.
for his career as a
Sure.
NFL quarterback. So we'll see.
All right. I turned to my trusted friends out in the desert, the Las Vegas bookmakers, odds makers out there.
Yeah.
And I said, what are the teams whose win total projection in 2025 far exceeds their actual win total in 2024? Because those are the teams that people actually start talking about because they're just like the Washington Redskins last year. It's like, oh, they rose out of the dead.
Washington
Jaden
who?
Daniels. The what? Commanders. My
Okay.
bad. I'm sorry. Apologize to anybody who I offended out there. The 3 teams that Vegas has the biggest projected win differential on in the positive direction are, first of all, actually, can you guess who number 1 is?
No, I can't actually. Maybe the Bears.
San Francisco 49ers. Kind of easy to think about if you think about that because they were so good the years prior, and then last year they really fell off the map. So, Teapot doesn't agree. But I'm not buying Brock Purdy. That's not. He's kind of already baked at this point. Number 2, Chicago Bears.
Okay.
And so that's one of your answers, Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams is going to have all kinds of hype this season. I think the Bears are going to start winning some games, and
throw
people
up
are
if they do.
people are going to be very excited about Caleb Williams. Number 3, the New England Patriots. And so there you go. I think you're going to have a lot of Drake May hype heading into the season. They got the new coach. They're going to be improved. They're going to be better. I think Drake May will have some good games. So I'd say Caleb and May, buy now, sell 6-8 weeks into the season when they've rattled off a few wins in a row. Thank me later.
They do have a really easy schedule.
There you go.
The
See?
Patriots.
Telling you.
They basically play the Bills and the Steelers and nobody else.
Telling you.
So.
Telling you. All right, there you go, guys. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments, and go check out that new Sports Card Investor Slab Pack on Arena Club. It just dropped. Get the Arena Club app and then promo code SCI20 for 20% off your first purchase. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you at the National next week. If not, we'll have all kinds of coverage of it on this channel, so stay tuned. Take care.